Hello, thanks for joining me for this quick reset practice. I'm Molly Kitchen, and we're going to be working on a little bit of strength building and a little bit of ease or relaxation in the body. In yoga philosophy, this can be seen as a balance of the qualities of Sthira and Sukha. Sthira meaning steadiness, firmness, focus. Sukha meaning ease, relaxation, and sweetness. So when we balance the two of them, we have a really good balance both in life and in practice. So I'm going to have you start by doing what I'm doing, tucking toes under and sitting back on your heels. This doesn't work for everybody, whether because of the compression at the knees or at the toes. So one thing you might do is using a small bolster, place that at the backs of the thighs and calves. Another thing you could do is try taking the foot up the wall like this, opening the toes. And the last thing you might do is just give yourself a foot massage here. So just getting some opening through the soles of the feet in whatever way works for your body. All right, one more breath here. And then make your way to hands and knees, a tabletop position. Can even untuck the toes so the tops of the feet are on the floor. Set your wrists shoulder distance apart, index fingers pointing forward. Inhaling, lift the crown of your head and your sitting bones. As you exhale, press the floor away and round through your spine. Do that one more time. So this is what we often do in yoga class, cat and cow, back bend shape, and then a rounding shape. When you come into the rounding shape, pause there and begin to circle your torso around. So shift the ribs to one side, then release them down, come through center, over to the other side, and lift. And, if this is confusing for your body, all the better, because you are making more brain-body connections by stumbling through it and trying this very circular action in your body than by just avoiding it because it's new or awkward. Switch, go the other direction, and see if perhaps you can let your head and your neck move as well. So I think a very important part of resetting, come back to center there, tuck your toes under, sit back on your heels. Very important part of resetting is doing things that we don't do that often. So as you're sitting back on your heels this time, extend your arms out shoulder height, extend your wrists, so palms forward, and then flex, point the fingers down, but as a result of the whole hand coming down. Just move through your range of motion. It might be different than what you see me doing, but have it start from the wrist joint. Good, so getting some movement there. Then make light fists and circle the fists around and go the other direction. Good. And then come back to tabletop. Untuck your toes and begin to lean your weight from side to side. And each time you lean, to lift up the other hand and turn it out a little bit. Press firmly through your hands. So there is strength building through the wrist joint, the fingers, and the forearms as you begin to turn the hands around. And for me, I can point the fingers all the way back towards my knees. I just happen to be quite flexible in this range. Not everyone will be, and it's not bad or wrong. You're just working with your range and then slowly unwinding through the wrists there. When you are back in tabletop position, pause for a moment. And then from this position, extend your right leg back and extend your left arm forward. Inhale here, and exhaling, draw your elbow and your knee in, rounding. As you inhale, extend out. As you exhale, draw in. Try one more time, extending as you inhale and drawing in as you exhale. This time, bring hand and knee to the floor and try the second side. So you get to give your right wrist a break, your left knee a break, extend out. Try not to have too much of a sag in the low back. So really lift up here so there's still length in the mid and low back. Exhale to draw elbow and knee in, rounding, press the left hand in. Inhale, extend out. Exhale, draw in. One more. One last time, exhale to draw in. and then extend. Bring hand and knee to the floor. This time, take your knees a little wider than hip distance. Bring your big toes together, seat your hips back, reach your arms forward. Rest your forehead on the floor if it comfortably reaches. Another option, stack the fists so you can rest the forehead there. And this is another one that if you have compression, if that's too much compression at the knees, or if it's just not working for your low back or anything, other options. This is often called puppy pose. So hips stay right above the knees, arms come forward, maybe forehead's on the block or on the floor. Elbows could also be bent there. You could also do this at a wall, coming into a half forward fold. If I had an imaginary wall, it might look something like this. So we're going for a little sense of ease here. And this is a position that for many of us we're not in throughout our day-to-day movements in life. So this can be an example of that sense of reset. All right, gently come up from whatever position you are in and sweep your legs out in front of you. And take your feet a little bit wider than hip distance and lean back a little bit. I often call this, when I'm leading classes, like you're chilling at the beach position. And as you're chilling at the beach, I don't want you to be overly concerned about what your upper body's doing. Just make sure you're relatively comfortable. And then from your hip joints, start to move your legs in and out. So I don't want it to just be the foot moving. Try and have it happen all the way up to the hip joints. Internal and external rotation. So I'm trying to get a little bit of release here first in my own body, and I'm instructing you in the same, so that then we can work with some control. Good. So then pause, relax in that position, and then bend your knees, still chilling at the beach, feet a little bit wider than hip distance. We're going to add in the knees coming over to one side and the opposite hand reaching. So draw your knees over to the left. Allow the right hip to lift up and allow the right hand to lift up, and then sweep the right arm around and reach back behind you. Have it be a real active reach. Then come back through center, keep the feet wide, bring the knees up, and then switch over to the other side. So knees come down, now left hand comes up, reach the left arm around, extend actively through the left arm. Come back through center. One more time to each side. And back through center, feet stay wide and reach. Good. Come back through center and come on up to standing. We'll just do one action standing after finding Tadasana. So find mountain form here. I'll show you this actually from the side. One thing that can happen often in modern life is the head moves a bit forward from the rest of the body. I'm exaggerating, but take your hand to the back of your head and gently press your head back, and imagine that your hand could also lift the head up. So you're not going for like a super flattened cervical curve, but just a little bit more length back there and the head coming back a little bit in space. As you do that, make sure not to flare your ribs forward. So you could take the other hand to your front bottom ribs around the solar plexus area and just encourage that area to relax and draw down. Release your arms. Let shoulders, arms, hands, fingers relax. All right, so I'll just stay to the side here so you can see what I'm doing. From here, shift your weight to your right leg and draw your left knee up. Make your right leg strong, hug in toward the midline so you're not leaning over to the side. And take a hand, one hand to low belly, one hand to the low back. Could be the back of the hand at the low back. Okay, so your work here is to keep your hips facing straight forward, but to widen your knee out to the side. So you're abducting your leg, you're taking it away from the midline. From here, internally rotate your leg and take the knee back behind you, the foot back behind you. Don't come into a back bend here. So the leg's back, and then draw it back up. Abduct your leg out to the side. Hips don't come along for the ride though. And then internally rotate, take the leg back behind you. Try one more. Draw the knee up, wide out to the side, Internally rotate as you take the leg back. And then draw the knee up. Place the foot on the floor. Feel your two legs, your two hips. Wiggle, shake, release. And try it on the second side. So you could switch your hands if that feels good to you. Hug in on the left leg so you're really strong and stable there. Draw the right knee in. This really isn't a balance move. It can be, but if you are finding that your balance is challenged here, just place your fingertips on a wall or a table or a chair. Right leg goes wide. Hips stay pointing straight forward. Internally rotate the leg back behind you without coming into a back bend. Draw the knee up. Wide out to the side. Internally rotate. Draw the knee back up. One more time. Wide out to the side. Left leg stays so strong. And back up. Place the right foot on the floor. Okay, so now, of course, you have to do that the other direction. So we started out going wide. So this time, start with left leg lifted. Now I'm not mirroring you. I'm doing the same one. Draw the leg back. External rotation in the leg without turning the hips out. Lift the knee up, draw it back in. Do two more that direction. Remember, the slower you go, the more strength you build. This is definitely about the Sthira end of things, this quality of steadiness, strength, focus. Could bring the left leg down, right leg up. Good, so last time we went out wide, so this time draw the knee back first. Externally rotate, so abduction happens first, draw the knee up, and then adduct, hug it in. Take the leg back. So my hands are here at my low belly and at my low back to keep me honest, so I don't cheat. And it's not like I'm being bad trying to cheat or anything like that. It's simply that our bodies are always trying to find workarounds. And if these are unfamiliar actions, which for many of us, this full range of motion of the femur bone and the hip socket is pretty unfamiliar, then we're just gonna have to keep some boundaries there for the body so it can learn or relearn these actions. Okay, bring that second foot down. Take your feet a little wider than hip distance. Wiggle your hips from side to side. You can bend your knees there. And we're going to finish this reset with a little bit of an inversion. So interlace your fingers behind your back. If that's too much for your shoulders, another option is hands to hips and elbows back. And then the big thing I want you to get here is a sense of hinging your hips. So rather than just rounding through the spine, start this action, you can watch me do it for a moment, from the hips tilting. So my hips or my butt is going to go back as my pelvis comes forward. And one way to think about this is that your torso is just coming along for the ride. The hip hinge happens, the torso comes along for the ride. So hands could remain there or you could interlace them. From there, yes, allow yourself to go into a forward fold, but with that sense of hip hinging happening first. Let your head and neck release here. Take a few slow, deep breaths. When you're ready, take one more slow inhalation. You may try exhaling through the mouth. And then release your arms and come back up to standing. That might be a roll up for you. If the rolling doesn't work for your spine, come up with a flat back. Make your way to standing. As you come up, give a few gentle shoulder rolls. Feel your feet underneath you. Extend the top of your head toward the sky. Let your arms and shoulders relax. All right. Thank you for joining me for this reset. May it improve the rest of your day or your night. And again, I'm Molly Kitchen. Thanks so much for practicing with me. Take good care.